Hey everyone, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered what it's like to share a screen with someone who's literally a cultural phenomenon? Like, imagine being the co-star in a movie where the lead isn't just famous, they're the defining icon of an entire era. That's exactly what these women experienced when they worked with Elvis Presley. And honestly, their stories are way more fascinating than you might think. Let's dive into the wild world of Elvis's leading ladies and why their legacies deserve more than just a footnote in his biography. Elvis wasn't just a rock and roll legend, he was a box office titan. Between 1956 and 1969, he starred in 31 films, none of which lost money, which is insane when you consider how critics panned most of them. But here's the thing, while we remember Elvis as the electrifying performer, his co-stars often got buried under his star power. What makes this really interesting is how their careers and personal lives intersected with his in ways that reveal a lot about fame, identity, and the pressures of the entertainment industry. Take Dolores Hart, for example. She was 19 when she kissed Elvis on camera in Loving You, and apparently, she was so flustered her ears turned red. The director had to cover them up with makeup. Now, imagine being that nervous, that young, and suddenly thrust into the spotlight with someone who's already a global icon. But here's the twist, Hart didn't stay in showbiz. She left Hollywood in 1963 to become a nun. That's wild, right? She chose a life of quiet devotion over the chaos of fame. It makes me wonder, was her decision a rejection of the superficiality of Hollywood or a search for something more meaningful? Either way, it's a reminder that even the most iconic figures can feel trapped by their own fame. Then there's Barbara Eden, who later became I Dream of Jeannie's bewitching sidekick. She worked with Elvis in Flaming Star, a western where he played a biracial character, a bold choice for 1960. Eden once said Elvis had the acting chops people didn't appreciate, which is fascinating because we usually think of him as a singer first. But here's the kicker. Despite his talent, Elvis was still typecast as the charismatic heartthrob. It's almost like the industry couldn't see past his image, even when he was trying to prove he could do more. That dynamic feels eerily familiar today, doesn't it? How many artists still get pigeonholed by their early success? And let's talk about Ann-Margret. She and Elvis had a real-life romance, and their chemistry in Viva Las Vegas was undeniable. But what's wild is how she managed to stand out in a sea of forgettable co-stars. She wasn't just a pretty face, she had her own musical numbers, her own personality. It makes me think, how many female stars were sidelined because they didn't fit the Elvis mold? Ann-Margret's career shows that when you bring your A-game, you can carve out your own space, even in the shadow of a giant. Don't get me started on Shelley Fabares. She's the only woman to appear in 3 Elvis movies, which is impressive on its own. But here's the kicker. Her hit Johnny Angel was bumped from the top of the charts by Elvis's Good Luck Charm. That's not just a fun fact, it's a glimpse into how his dominance could eclipse even the most successful artists. It's like being a rising star in a universe where one person's shadow is so long it blocks out the sun. And then there's Donna Douglas, who played Ellie Mae Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies. She took a break from that role to star in Frankie and Johnny with Elvis. She wrote about their spiritual connection, which is fascinating because it humanizes Elvis beyond the king persona. He wasn't just this larger-than-life figure. He had moments of vulnerability, like when he confessed his crush on Mary Tyler Moore during Change of Habit. That shyness, that respect for her, it's almost endearing in a way that contrasts with the myth of the untouchable rock star. So, what does all this say about Elvis? He was a force of nature, but his co-stars weren't just background players, they were individuals with their own stories, choices, and legacies. And honestly, I think that's the real takeaway here. Fame is a double-edged sword, and these women navigated it in ways that still resonate today. Whether they left Hollywood, carved their own paths, or found unexpected connections, their experiences with Elvis reveal a lot about the price of stardom and the resilience it takes to survive it. What do you think? Did Elvis's co-stars get the credit they deserved, or were they always just part of his story? Let me know in the comments.